Perhaps you're approaching the Big 3-0, or you're already in your 30s and looking to get your finances in order. Today's video will be all about the mistakes you'll want to avoid during this period. The items on this list are all examples of things that could put your personal finances in jeopardy, not just in the next few years, but set a precedent for the rest of your life. So make sure you take care of these today. Welcome back to the Mindset Masterclass channel. If you're new here, you might want to subscribe because we have plenty of free content all about personal finance, investing, and entrepreneurship. Let's get started with our list of financial mistakes to avoid. Number 1. Not regularly checking your credit report. Don't make the mistake of thinking that your credit file will be in order just because you rarely apply for credit. Even if you have made any repayments on debts you owe and paid your bills on time, you may still have issues that need addressing on your credit file. For example, if you've changed address at any point and the credit reference agencies haven't got your new address on file, you could be declined credit in the future. Even if you have told some institutions that you've moved house but not others, the discrepancies in address data in your credit file is enough to trigger a rejection. In fact, your credit score is affected by all sorts of minor things which you might not realize. We will make a whole video going into more detail, but for now, let me highlight just a couple more examples. Being too close to your credit limit or not being registered to vote are two examples which spring to mind. Moving on to point number 2. Buying a car out of your price range. Your friends and neighbours might be starting to reward themselves with expensive cars, and naturally you feel like you don't want to be left behind, so you want to get a similar or better car. You work hard, so you deserve it, right? If those guys can afford it, then surely you can too, right? Well, chances are your friends with the expensive cars have paid or are paying a fortune for it. Perhaps they've bought on finance and are paying crippling repayments each month. Or if they've made the financial faux pas of buying for cash, then that purchase has taken a huge chunk out of their budget. If you've watched our videos before, you'll know that here at the Mindset Masterclass we advocate that depreciating assets should only be rented and never bought outright. Have you ever heard the phrase, if it drives, flies or floats, lease it? The reason you shouldn't buy an expensive car outright is that not only does it depreciate in value, meaning that you're losing money from the moment you buy it, but that lump sum cash amount could have been used to invest into an asset which grows in value or produces an income. So when you buy a depreciating asset for cash, you're foregoing the potential for profit elsewhere. This is known as opportunity cost. Mistake to avoid number 3. Having friends and partners with poor financial literacy. If you haven't been in the same friendship group for many years, chances are your friends will have developed differing attitudes towards money and careers. Perhaps some of them aren't as careful with their cash as they could be. Perhaps some are earning good money and growing their wealth while others are being reckless and avoiding taking responsibility. People have different experiences, priorities and values. That's only natural, and I'm not saying to ditch those friends, but don't let other people's poor financial behavior influence your own. Your friends might want to go out drinking every weekend or go on expensive trips, but you need to be assertive enough to say no, or at the least to keep within a predetermined budget. Don't fall into the trap of peer pressure, allowing your friends or romantic partners to persuade you to part with your cash. At the end of the day, it's your money that you work hard for. Don't let others spend it for you. Similarly, in relationships it's very easy to get carried away with meeting the expectations of a partner with gifts, dates, vacations and perhaps even moving in together. Make sure that your partner is on the same page as you financially and that they respect your values. Money is one of the biggest issues which couples break up over, so avoid any arguments in the future by choosing a partner whose attitude to money aligns with your own. Have you ever heard the phrase, your vibe attracts your tribe? As time goes by and you reach your 30s, you may meet new friends and romantic partners whose lifestyles and attitudes may be completely different to the people you knew in your early 20s. This is a natural part of life. Friendships are increasingly transient as you get older, and you will find that friendship groups break apart and new friendships are formed. You'll naturally gravitate towards people with similar interests and values to your own through the career you follow, hobbies you keep, and community you live in. Another similar expression you've probably already heard is, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with, which means that the people you regularly spend time with will significantly influence your personality, attitudes and behaviors. Take a look at the people you most admire. Now take a look at the people surrounding you. Do they have similar values? If not, how can you align yourself with characteristics you admire? The fourth financial mistake is buying a home out of your price range. You might think this is similar to the earlier point about having an expensive car, but we feel this is so important that it deserves its own place on the list. Many of us are taught by our parents and by society that purchasing a house to live in is the greatest financial asset we can buy, but this is a misguided myth. Take a look at anyone who peddles this advice and ask yourself if they are truly financially wealthy. The mistake many people make is they approach their late 20s or are in their 30s and they begin to think, I'm earning money now, I don't want to pay money to a landlord any longer, I want to own my own house. It's hard to argue with that logic, but the issue here is priorities. If you remember the earlier point about opportunity cost when buying a car, you forego the opportunity to invest that money and generate a profit. Many will be quick to point out, however, that a house isn't a depreciating asset and generally increases in value over time. They're not wrong. The problem is that a house that is lived in by its owner, whilst it is likely to be gaining value over time, is not generating an income for the owner. You are likely to be paying a mortgage on it and paying for its maintenance. If you pay cash for it or put down an upfront deposit, you're missing out on the potential profit you could have earned had you invested that money elsewhere. This is why at Mindset Masterclass we advocate that your first real estate purchase should not be a home to live in for yourself, but a home to rent out to tenants, which earns you an income each month. If you're clever with your finances, you could rent a modest place to live in yourself while still generating positive cash flow on your rental property. If you repeat this process maybe 3 or 4 times, you could get to a position where the profit from your rental income exceeds the cost to you of renting your home, and maybe then you might have enough disposable income to finally buy a modest home to live in yourself. Personally, I enjoy the freedom that renting offers me. I'm free to move between homes after my tenancy agreement ends, and if there are any problems with the apartment I live in, the landlord or their agent gets it sorted promptly with no cost to me. Rounding off the list is perhaps the most serious money mistake you can make in your 30s. Not investing. I'm not just talking about investing into a pension plan for your retirement here, I'm talking about investing in assets which generate an income leading to financial freedom and wealth throughout your life, not just when you're old. Why wait until you're too old to work to be financially free? If you make the right financial choices now, you could potentially retire far sooner than the average pension age. Even if you have no plans to retire anytime soon, perhaps you have a career which you love and never want to leave, you can still put your money to work in a way which takes the pressure off your day job to meet your financial targets. Perhaps the first thing that comes to mind when I mentioned investing was buying shares on the stock market, and that certainly is one investment area which we discuss here at Mindset Masterclass. Some YouTubers might try to sell you on the idea of making money with cryptocurrency, and that is certainly an asset class that is increasingly popular, but don't overlook the idea of investing in your own business. Perhaps you already have a busy day job and other responsibilities, so you're thinking, how on earth can you start a business? Fortunately, in the internet age, it's easier than ever to start a business. If you're watching this, you have access to the internet, and that means that you can develop all sorts of businesses which could produce passive income. We recently made a video on passive income, so take a look. Put simply, passive income is where you earn money from a project you have already put time, effort or money into. For example, in the stock market you could own shares in companies which pay out regular dividends. You don't need to do anything once you've bought those shares, you just sit back and watch the dividend payments come rolling in. Admittedly, you need to invest a large amount into stocks to earn any significant dividend income from them, but there are other places to invest your money. One of my favourite examples is to write an ebook or build an online course. There are more details on this in the passive income video, but for now just know that it is entirely possible, and in fact very popular these days, to write about something you're knowledgeable or passionate about and get paid by people wanting to access your content. You can automate the sales and marketing process so that once you've put in the initial effort, you can get back to your day job or anything else you'd rather be doing. Another investment idea is in real estate, as outlined in the point about buying a house. Again, you'll find out more in the passive income video. Investing in something, be it stocks, real estate or business, is the way that countless people have grown their wealth. Essentially, it's not necessarily a person's day job which defines their wealth, but it's their attitudes towards money and what they do with their income which defines their wealth and financial success in the long term. With this in mind, it's so important that you take control of your finances now, regardless of what age you are when you watch this. It doesn't matter if you're a teenager or in your 60s. Take action now so that you can enjoy the benefits of financial freedom in the long term.